Hey guys, so we're back from spring break and back in action with our read aloud. So if you remember back a week ago when we last read the story, we were in the Evil Queen's point of view, and she too has a wish that she would like to use the wishing spell to grant. But she has to stay in hiding because she's a wanted woman, right? She escaped from prison. So she reached out to the huntsman from the original story of Snow White, and he told her that I'm too old to do a quest like this. But he offered the help of who? Yeah, his daughter. And if you remember, his daughter is mute. Do you guys remember what mute means? Remember when you hit that mute button on the TV? Yeah, makes everything go quiet, right? So she doesn't talk. But we learned all about things like that, differences in our other stories, and her mind is still great, right? She's fully capable of doing the work. She just doesn't talk. So what's going to happen is the huntsman's daughter is going to go rival Alex and Connor with the wishing spell items. Because remember, the spell can only be done one more time. You ready to get into it? So this chapter is called The Charming Kingdom. If you see the picture, who do you think lives in the Charming Kingdom? Yeah, Cinderella. So let's meet our characters here. You guys ready? Chapter 9, The Charming Kingdom. Alex and Connor woke up on the floor of Rapunzel's tower just after sunrise. Remember, that's where they read the wishing spell, right? And they already got a lock of Rapunzel's hair because that was one of the things in the riddle that they think that they need for the wishing spell. So they've got one item down, and now they're waking up in her tower ready to go get some more, hopefully. They were snuggled under the blankets Froggy had given them, and they used their bags as pillows. "How'd you sleep?" Alex asked her brother. "Like I slept on the floor of a tower," Connor said, thinking he'd never take his bed at home for granted again. He stretched his back, and his joints made the sound like firecrackers. You ever give your back a good stretch and it just pops and kind of feels good, doesn't it? They put away their blankets and decided to get an early start on their day. Alex insisted on tidying the tower, leaving it in a better condition than they had found it in. "I'd hate for anyone to think we made this mess," Alex said. Connor rolled his eyes at her and made sure she saw it. "What's our next stop?" Connor asked Alex. She looked back and forth on the map in one hand and the journal in the other. "Well, the Charming Kingdom is just east of here," Alex said. "I figure it would be the wisest to go there and see if we can get a hold of Cinderella's slipper." Do you think that's going to be an easy thing to get? Cinderella's slipper? That's like a prized possession, wouldn't you think? Let's see what happens. "And exactly how are we going to do that?" Connor asked. Alex had to think about it. "We'll just ask if we can borrow it," she decided. Can you imagine them going up to Cinderella and saying, "Hey, Cinderella, we want to do this wishing spell. Could we borrow your glass slipper?" "Fat chance," Connor said. "That's like walking to the White House and asking for the Declaration of Independence." Although Connor was wrong about the whereabouts of the Declaration of Independence, Alex knew he was right to be concerned. Do you guys know where the Declaration of Independence is housed? That's something I want you to look up after this. If you message me on Dojo with where the Declaration of Independence is actually located, I'll give you a bonus point. How are they going to get their hands on one of Cinderella's slippers? Surely they must be the most prized possessions of the kingdom. "We'll have to try our best," Alex said. "What other options do we have?" The twins traveled down the spiral staircase in the core of Rapunzel's tower and returned to the path. They eventually came to a fork where a new path splintered off into the eastern direction. The sign above the fork said, "Charming Kingdom," and pointed in the direction of the new path was headed. "Connor, look at the sign," Alex said, pressing her hands against her cheeks. "Now I really wish I had a camera." They traveled down the path for quite a while without discovering anything new but the same dirt path of evergreen trees that they had seen for the last 2 days. Connor became more anxious the farther he walked, letting out extended sighs every minute or so. "Are we sure we're not lost? I swear I've seen that boulder and that tree about 20 times already," he said, pointing. "I'm positive we're traveling in the right direction. I've been watching the map since we left," Alex said. We should be approaching the stream very soon, and once we cross it, we'll be in the charming kingdom. Connor sighed again. It would be his last one for a while, so he made sure it lasted extra long. A couple of hours later, there was no stream in sight. Connor was starting to lose faith in his sister's navigational abilities. This place must be bigger than we thought, Alex said. Or this map is completely off scale. Eventually, the twins found the stream Alex had seen on the map. The path went across a small bridge and was made out of pale stones and then continued on the other side. You see, I told you I knew what I was doing, Alex said, with her head held high. Yeah, Connor said. Honestly, Connor, I'm a little disappointed in your lack of faith, Alex gloated. If there's one place I should know my way around, it would have to be... Connor heard his sister's high-pitched scream before he realized what was happening. A large troll had jumped right out in front of them on the bridge. He was short and very wide with an enormous head. He was covered in matted fur with large eyes and a snout. His arms and legs were tiny, but his nails and teeth were sharp and long. Isn't there another story about a troll that lives under a bridge? It makes people, like, what is that story called? Something about Billy Goat Scruff, maybe? Yeah, I think that's right. Or something, it taught like a lesson about how the grass is not always greener on the other side. I don't know. You guys will have to tell me. I think that's what it is. That's what's ringing a bell in my head. You have to tell me it's making you think of. You are on my bridge, the troll shouted. How dare you? We're sorry, Alex said, clutching onto her brother like a monkey to a tree. Clutching her brother like a monkey to a tree. What type of figurative language is that? It's comparing two things using like grass, so it's a simile. Good job. We had no idea this bridge belonged to anyone. Maybe you should maybe you should put up a sign or... I'm reading the wrong character, I'm sorry. This is Connor. Maybe you should put up a sign or something, Connor suggested, and then regretted it once it made the troll even angrier. What are you doing on my bridge? The troll demanded. Trying to cross in the charming kingdom, Alex said. We didn't mean any harm. No one crosses my bridge without answering a riddle, the troll said. A riddle? Alex asked, letting go of Connor. Oh, you're a bridge troll. A bridge troll? Connor asked. Yes, like in Three Billy Goat Scruff. Yes, I nailed it, didn't I? Do you guys think that one too? Alex said happily. She was so excited to be witnessing another fairy tale occurrence. All of her fear faded away. If you wish to cross my bridge, you must answer one of my riddles correctly, the bridge troll said. Answer incorrectly, and I'll bite your head off. Excuse me? Bite our heads off? Connor said. Steam was practically coming out of his ears. What is wrong with everyone in this place? Why does everyone we meet want to eat us? Can someone please explain to me why this keeps happening? Connor, calm down, Alex insisted. Let's just solve our riddle and then we'll be on our way. What if we get it wrong? Connor said. He'll kill us. Let's just find another way across the stream. Connor, don't be silly. If a simple Billy Goat can answer a riddle correctly, I'm sure we can do it too, Alex reassured him. Besides, there isn't another bridge for miles. Connor grunted and crossed his arms. How are we so sure this is actually his bridge? Connor said. I'd like to see some ownership identification before we continue. Alex ignored him. What's your riddle, Mr. Bridge Troll? She asked. May I call you that, Mr. Bridge Troll? The Bridge Troll eyed the twins and jauntily swayed from side to side as he began his riddle. Here's his riddle. Ready? What can be as small as a pea or as large as the sky and is not owned by one person who purchases it? It asked. Let me read that to you again. What can be as small as a pea or as large as the sky and is not owned by the person who purchases it? The wheels in Alex's head began turning immediately. She loves riddles. That's a tricky one, Alex said. She pressed her index fingers against her lips as she thought. Do you have any guesses, Connor? Nope, you're on your own, Connor said. You have one guess before I bite your head off, so guess wisely, the bridge troll said, doing a small dance and clapping his hands. That's it, I'm out of here, Connor said. He walked off the bridge and slowly made his way down the stream. Connor, what are you doing? Alex called out. I'm crossing the stream, Connor yelled back. No bridge is worth that much trouble. He slowly stepped into the stream and began traveling across it. The water was freezing, but his frustration kept him warm enough that it didn't matter. The water rose higher and higher as he traveled farther across it. It's not that deep, Alex, Connor said. The current isn't even that strong. He reached the middle of the stream at its deepest, and the water came just above his waist. You're cheating, Alex said, and then asked the bridge troll, Is that even allowed? Can he do that? He isn't the one to ask for the riddle. You are, the bridge troll said. Connor had crossed the stream by now and was soaking wet. Alex continued thinking about the riddle. So, it can be as small as a pea and as large as the sky. So you're basically telling me that it can be any size. And the person who buys it doesn't own it. So that means someone else owns it, she thought out loud. Hurry up, Alex, Connor shouted. Oh, hush, Alex said. I'm going to say that it must be a gift. A gift can be any size, and the receiver is who owns it, not the person who purchases it. The bridge troll stopped swaying from side to side and slumped over. That is correct, the bridge troll said disappointedly. You may pass. Alex clapped her hands together and did a small jump. She extended her hand out to offer the troll a handshake, but he ignored it. Instead, he crawled back below wherever he had jumped out from. See, Alex said when she met with her brother on the other side of the bridge. I knew I'd answer it correctly. Connor shook his head. And I'm sure I'll have to hear about it for the rest of our lives, he said. But let's try to make Cinderella's palace by sundown, okay? The twins continued their journey into the charming kingdom. They were excited to see the different scenery as they traveled. The evergreen trees they had seen so much of became scarce and were slowly replaced by big oak trees. There were also vast fields of tall grass and wildflowers everywhere. They looked beautiful. It's so beautiful here, Alex said. They had been walking for hours and still saw no sign of anything. Connor was practically dry by now. Where is everything? Connor asked. The charming kingdom is a very big place, Alex said. It's going to take a while to get to the palace. It began to get dark, and the twins became worried. There was no shelter in sight. Soon the moon was their only source of light. They walked a short distance off the path and found a grassy area among a few trees, and they assumed and hoped was safe, and they decided to spend the night there. Connor tried making a fire by rubbing two sticks together, but was unsuccessful. Now I really wish I had signed up for Boy Scouts, he said. It was their first night sleeping outside. Both kept waking up every hour or so to make sure they were still safe because every sound terrified them. What was that? Alex gasped in the middle of the night. It's an owl, Connor said, or a very inquisitive dove, but either way, I think we're safe. The next morning, the sunrise woke them. They restlessly got to their feet and returned to the path. We're running out of food, Alex said, after eating one of their last apples. We'll have to stock up soon as soon as we find a market or something. I'm so tired of rolls and apples, I'm starting to think we should have asked Froggy to pack us some flies, Connor said. Gosh, I would kill for a cheeseburger. Maybe that's why everyone eats each other over here. They just haven't discovered fast food yet. They found a small pond on the other side of the path and splashed some water in their faces. We look so tired, Alex said, looking at their reflection in the water. The twins heard a galloping sound coming from behind them on the path. They turned to see a small cart of firewood being pulled by a gray horse. It was steered by a man with a big floppy green hat. Let's ask him how much farther until the palace, Alex said, who ran over to the cart. Excuse me, sir. Whoa, the man said, slowing the horse to a stop. May I help you? How much farther until we reach Cinderella's palace? Alex said. Are you traveling by foot? The man asked. Unfortunately, Connor said. Then it'll take you days to get there, the man said. Alex and Connor looked at each other, completely exasperated. What do you think exasperated means? They're completely exasperated. It's going to take them days to get there. Yeah, like worn out, right? Like over it. Can't take it anymore. If you're exasperated, you're like done for. I'm delivering the firewood to the palace tonight, the man said. I can give you a ride if you like. That was lucky, wasn't it? Before he could finish his sentence, Connor had climbed aboard the cart. Thank you so much, Alex said. That is so kind of you. The twins traveled with the man for the rest of the day. Connor made himself comfortable on top of the firewood and napped almost the entire trip, waking up every so often whenever they hit a bump in the road. Alex, on the other hand, took full advantage of having an actual human to talk to. From the fairy tale world. What's your name? Alex asked the man. Smithers, the man said. Where are you from? She asked. I grew up in a small village on the northeastern part of the charming kingdom, Smithers said. What's it like here? Alex asked dreamily. My brother and I, we haven't been around this kingdom very much. The charming kingdom is a quiet place, Smithers said. It has many small villages on the outskirts of the kingdoms and many wealthy estates in the center near the palace. Have you ever been to the palace before? Alex asked. Oh, yes. I make deliveries there during the year, he said. In fact, tonight, the king and queen are having a huge ball. Do you guys know what a ball is? Think about Cinderella. Yeah, it's like the huge party where like everybody comes and it's like a ballroom dancing, right? They are? Alex's eyes doubled in size. She shook Connor awake. Connor, did you hear that? Cinderella's having a ball tonight. Isn't that wonderful? What are the chances? What? That's great, Connor said, and then immediately fell back to sleep. Why are they having a ball? Alex asked. They have one every month since their wedding, Smithers said. It's like a celebration of their marriage. What's Queen Cinderella like? She asked. Absolutely beautiful, and the best queen our kingdom has ever had, Smithers said with a big grin. Not too many people were eager to accept her when she first moved into the palace, though. Many of the aristocratic families were upset the prince hadn't chosen one of their daughters to wed. But she's overcome all that since. Alex could tell they were getting much closer to the palace. They passed more small villages, which grew in size and population as they went along. She was so excited to be so close to people, actual people, who had spent their entire lives in the fairy tale world. She wished with all her heart that she could say she'd grown up in the charming kingdom. Do you ever find it overwhelming? Alex asked Smithers. Does it ever get frightening living here and knowing that any moment a fairy could fly by and grant you a wish, or an ogre could run up and eat you? Smithers looked at her curiously. Does such a place exist where people can't unexpectedly be helped or hurt? Alex couldn't think of any. Maybe this world and the world she lived in weren't that different after all. The cart began passing large estates. Everywhere they looked, they saw another huge, elegant home. They were all so bright and colorful with pointed roofs and curves on their sides. Some of them were made from wood, others from brick, and some were covered completely in ivy. It was something straight out of a storybook, and Alex kept reminding herself she was in one. We're almost to the palace, Smithers said. The cart began to vibrate as the dirt path beneath them turned into cobblestone street. Shops and markets started popping up on the sides of the street that they had traveled into the city. They shared their roads with other carts and carriages. Villagers and townspeople alike walked alongside them and went about their day-to-day routines of shopping and trade. Are we there yet? Connor said, stirring back to life. The cart rounded a corner onto a very large and wide street. And at the end of the street was an enormous palace. I'll take that as a yes, Connor said. The palace took Alex's breath away. It was perfectly symmetrical and smooth. Ooh, that's a math word, symmetrical. Do you guys know what that means? I bet Miss Hungate taught you that. Symmetrical. Yeah, it's even on both sides, right? It has symmetry. As if it were made out of gray porcelain. 3 prominent towers in the middle of the palace shared the base of a gigantic clock, large enough for the whole kingdom to see. The palace almost seemed fake, it was so majestic. Majestic. Does that sound like a word that you know? Majestic. Kind of like magic, right? Yeah. Majestic means like grand or magical or like so great it couldn't be real. Think of like a unicorn would be majestic, right? And was grander than they had ever imagined. This is where I'll drop you off, Smithers said, pulling out his cart and horse over to the side of the street. Best of luck to you, youngins. Enjoy the town. Thank you so much, the twins said together. They tried to offer him a few gold coins as a thank you, but Smithers insisted that they save their money and went on his way. The twins walked around the town for a good while. Everyone seemed to be buzzing with anticipation for the ball later that evening. They found a small market where they were able to purchase fresh fruit, vegetables, and breads. Alex kept trying to make small talk with every person she encountered, but most of the townspeople ignored her. Connor kept rolling his eyes at his sister. Everything she saw excited her. I don't know how I'm going to survive traveling with you if you keep the constant state of excitement, Connor said. It's exhausting, and it's really getting on my nerves. I'm sorry, Alex said. We've been around so many trees last couple of days. I'm just so excited to see people, and they're... Oh, look! Look at the doorknob on that building. It's the shape of a slipper. Isn't that cute? After a busy afternoon of sightseeing, they found a quiet hill that overlooked the town, and they sat under the shade of a large tree. The sun was starting to descend, and the twins grew anxious at the thought of another day ending. Think about at the end of a day, the sun descends. So what does it mean to descend? We've talked about descendants before too. So descends means to, the sun descends. It goes down, doesn't it, at the end of the day? Good. What's our plan? Connor asked. Let's see what the journal suggests, Alex said, and pulled it out from her school bag. She flipped through the pages until she came across this section about the glass slipper. Okay, so the font has changed. So that's how I can tell we're actually going to start reading the journal now, okay? Cinderella's glass slipper was a very difficult item to retrieve. Her slippers, without a doubt, are the most cherished possessions of the kingdom. First, you must find a way into the palace. This is rather difficult, as there is only one entrance. One of Cinderella's first acts as queen was to get rid of all the servant entrances, so that when people come to the palace, they all enter as equals. Once inside, find a way into Cinderella's royal display room. This will also be difficult, since no one is allowed in the queen's chambers without an invitation from her. The slippers are on display in a glass box on the top of a pillar in the center of the room. The slippers are not hard to remove from inside the glass box, but the room is under constant watch by 2 guards at its entrance. Find a way to be alone in the royal display room and remove a slipper quietly and quickly. Leave as fast as you can, because as soon as they notice something is missing, the guards will close the palace doors and you'll be trapped and taken to the dungeon to be hung upside down by your toenails. Best of luck. How are we going to get into the palace? Connor asked. Alex began to think of a plan, but she was distracted by a long line of carriages driving down the main street toward the town and the palace. They were elegant and colorful. Look at how many pages we've got. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm going to have to break this chapter up into pieces. Look at this. Yeah, we still have 20 pages left. So I think I'm going to stop after this page, and then we'll have another 20 for the next time. Because that would be like an hour video to upload. That would be crazy. YouTube's already a turtle for me. So I'm going to finish these, and then we'll divide the chapter in half. So this will be chapter 9, part 1. Okay? Each carriage had its own 2 horses pulling it, a coachman and a footman riding on the back, and a number of passengers inside. The ball, Alex said. We'll have to sneak into the ball. Uh-huh, Connor said, contemplating the information. What are we supposed to wear? Look at us. We're not dressed formal enough. I bet we smell really fresh after walking 3 days straight with no shower. I have an idea, Alex said. She opened their bags and took out their blankets. She grabbed hold of Connor and began wrapping the blanket around him, folding it strategically in certain places so it would stay up. Alex wrapped herself in another blanket. There, Alex said. Now we look like we're wearing sensible robes. We look ridiculous, Connor said. Do you have any other ideas? Alex asked. Do you think there's a fairy godmother hotline we could call? Connor asked. The twins walked down to the main street. They followed the traffic of carriages toward the palace. The closer they came to the palace, the larger it grew and the more real it became. Many of the coachmen glared at the twins with bewilderment and judgmental looks. A few passengers leaped out of their carriage windows to see what the twins were doing. Take a picture, it lasts longer, Connor shouted at them. Connor, they don't know what that means, Alex said. Because that's what type of speech, when we say something but it doesn't literally mean what it says. It's an idiom, isn't it? And idioms typically don't translate in other cultures very well. They don't get it. Because do you think in Charming Kingdom that they have cameras? Probably not. It's a very different world. They reached the palace just as the sun was setting. As each carriage neared the front steps of the palace's entrance, its footmen would run around the carriage and gently help the passengers out. Alex and Connor had never seen such beautiful clothing. All the women wore long ball gowns in various colors and fabrics and stitching. They wore gloves with diamonds. Some wore bows and feathers in their hair. The men all dressed beautifully too. Some of them in formal armor and some with suits with broad fringed shoulders and square cuffs. All the effort and flair that the guests had put into their appearance made the twins feel very insecure about their impromptu robes. They stuck out like sore thumbs. They were the youngest people there, and they were the only ones not dressed in lace or satin, and they were the only ones carrying bags. They looked exactly what they were, a couple of kids sneaking into a ball. An extensive row of steps led to the palace's entrance. Alex and Connor began climbing with the rest of the attendees. It was such a climb, they wondered if they would ever reach the top of it. This world has goblins and fairies, but where's an escalator when you need one? Connor said. Connor, Alex gasped. Look at this. And that's where we're going to cut it off for today. So tomorrow, we're going to do chapter 9.2, okay, guys? I love you and I missed you, and I'll talk to you on our video chat. Love you. Bye.